everybody! Welcome to Let's Look at Watch Dogs, the most hotly anticipated open-world crime/hacking game of, well, I guess if you include hacking in there, of ever, basically, but definitely one of the biggest games of the year, made and published by Ubisoft, out on Tuesday, which is the day that you're probably seeing this video, no matter where you live, if I had to guess. Now, well, I guess you could be watching it a little bit later. I encourage you to do so as well. In any case, let's talk about Watch Dogs, right? This is a weird game to cover. It's a little bit tricky if you're watching this in the distant future. You might not remember this game as an F-ton of hype associated with it. I'm going to get in the car and drive, but remind me to turn off the copywritten music as soon as possible. Yeah, this is a game that got super hyped from E3 last year, and now is not really as hyped because people are like, oh, the resolution's not so good and the frames per second are a little bit lower. And, you know, this is stuff that's all true. I'm playing the PS4 version, by the way. I did not get a PC version before release. You can check out Total Biscuit's WTF Is if you want to see him play a PC version, because I know he has it right now. I've been playing on the PS4. It's been totally fine, and I probably played 8 to 9 hours so far, and that is not very much in a game that is this large. In fact, I can just show you if I take out my phone here. If I look at the progression here, I'm only 14.7% of the way through the game. I can also check, you know, in the main story, I completed the first 9 missions and about half of Act 2 as well. So, there's not very much necessarily left. Like, Act 2 seems to be the longest part of the game for sure, but, you know, I've been predominantly playing the story missions, so you're probably looking at, like, a, you know, maybe a 15 to 20 hour long campaign from a story standpoint, and there's a lot of other stuff to do in the game. And this is unfortunately not an earlier save, so I might accidentally end up spoiling something, but I doubt it. How do I feel about Watch Dogs so far? Let's pull up the map here, and maybe we'll do an optional mission before a story mission. And I want to do, maybe Criminal Convoy would be the right thing to do. So that'll give us time to talk while we drive over here. This will probably end up being a little bit on the longer side from a video standpoint. I like Watch Dogs, and I think that's going to be the most difficult thing for people that are not playing it right now and trying to decide whether or not to pick it up. That's going to be a difficult thing to accept. Watch Dogs has kind of been touted and hyped as this revolutionary new, you know, twist on the open world crime formula. It's got the hacking stuff going along with it, the ability to profile people. I don't think that stuff really adds a whole lot to the game. It's a gimmick. It kind of reminds me of the same thing as, like, you know, Kung Fu or hand-to-hand combat being a gimmick in Sleeping Dogs. It adds something to the game, and it definitely sets it apart, you know, the same way that being a superhero sets Saints Row apart from the Grand Theft Auto series. But it doesn't really change the formula that much. That being said, as someone who does not really like open-world crime games in general, I've actually found myself having a lot of fun with Watch Dogs. I played Grand Theft Auto 5. I played a lot of it. And I actually beat the game, and I didn't like it all that much. I beat the game out of a sense of kind of like journalistic obligation, I guess. Watch Dogs I've been playing and I've been enjoying. I think it's a game that if you can tease that kind of like, oh, this is going to change the way you play video games, hype away from it, this is a totally good, beyond solid open world adventure game or action game. So, before I do this extra mission, I thought it might be smart to just take a quick second and talk about, you know, the major gimmick in Watch Dogs, which is this profiler thing, the ability to actually hack the people that are around you in your everyday life. Now, this had a lot of kind of, like, vaunted possibilities associated with it, like, oh, you could profile someone and then, you know, use that to kind of, like, socially engineer a way to solve a puzzle. I haven't encountered anything like that so far. What I have encountered is basically, you know, you press the square button, I believe it's Q on PC, and then you find someone that you can actually hack. You learn something about them here, and we can hack them, and then maybe learn something more by looking through their text messages. We lost them. Good, and the money, I'll get it later. This might actually give us a side mission open up here, which is kind of cool. I'll save you the trouble. Where's the money? Do we have a package location that's actually appeared? Sure, let's place a waypoint. Let's do that, actually, because this is kind of some of the cool, you know, sticky stuff. Oh, turn off the music. That happens in Watch Dogs. You know, you're on your way to a mission, and a bunch of other stuff kind of appears that makes it interesting. So we know that she's been part of some kind of suspicious delivery. Now we can come over here and possibly intercept the delivery before... Oh, let's be cool here. Possibly intercept the delivery before... the other people get a chance to really give it away. So what I might do here is just use a tool. I'll talk a little bit more about some of the stuff going on with respect to, like, the gadgets and tools in the game later, but for now I'm just going to use, like, an attraction tool to lure these guys, and hopefully they'll look over there. Doesn't appear that that really worked very well. What if I try actually getting behind this cover, and if I... Oh, wait, these guys actually aren't alarmed with me. Okay, disregard that. I'll just open the package instead, and that gives us like $1,000. So, you know, what game this reminds me a lot of is actually Spider-Man 2. You'll be like walking through the environment, and then some kid's like, my balloon, and then you know, go save that kid's balloon. It's novel the first couple of times that it happens. After that, oh god, after that it gets a little, not tedious necessarily, but not as important, I guess. But it is kind of cool that there is this sticky stuff that kind of keeps you playing the game throughout it. This is a side mission that we're going to do here, by the way, called Criminal Convoy. What you have to do in Criminal Convoy is stop a criminal. Say, please be quiet. You have to. We can hack them there as well. And basically this gives us $1,900 that we can steal the next time we go to an ATM. That's the other thing I wanted to mention, is that a lot of the hacking is basically just like, you know, this person has money, go to an ATM, and now you have their PIN number and you can get it. You just press square to get it, basically. Criminal Convoy is a vehicular-focused mission. I'll let them talk.
This one's personal. I gotta get this guy.
Alright, so Criminal Convoy, I really like the presentation style for the most part in the game as well. It does a really good job of kind of displaying information throughout the city. But anyway, we have to eliminate the target before they reach their destination. And the reason I wanted to take this side mission is to kind of, let's just see which direction we're supposed to be going here. They're probably over here right now. Is to dispel this notion that, oh, I thought maybe that was some kind of sweet, like, Flava Flav horn in the song there. Dispel the notion that Watch Dogs is this, like, a hyper-revolutionary game. It's not. If you've played Grand Theft Auto, Saints Row, etc., you know what you're getting into. What do we do on this mission? How do we succeed? Pretty much we're just gonna smash up the dude's car, he'll get out, and then we'll hit him in the face. Pretty much, that's how the mission will end. And then what do we do after that? We'll try to escape from the police, or escape from the gang, and also escape from the police, if they, get involved in this. Now, there are some, you know, what you see, or sorry, not what you see is what you get, but you get what you put in, to some extent, with respect to the game. I'm just gonna try to kill him here. Well, not kill him, but just knock him down. This means they're calling the police. I need to pause for a second. This, headset that I have on, the volume is way too freaking loud. Hopefully that helps out a little bit. There we go. Okay, now I can barely hear anything. This is perfect. Yeah, you get what you put in. There are missions that have kind of stealthier and cooler and more cyberpunky kind of ways of solving them. There's missions where, you know, you could go in guns blazing and play it like a third-person cover-based shooter, and that's fine. That stuff handles okay. That's not really why I think most people are going to be getting Watch Dogs. They'd probably be content with GTA in that regard. Oh, God. I am possibly going to lose the target here unless I can sneak through. Alright, we might be able to catch up to them. But yeah, those missions that you can go through guns blazing, on a lot of them you can go through Sam Fisher and Splinter Cell style, and that's cool as well. You know, you've got an assortment of gadgets and kind of tricks that you can play on people to distract them. Or sometimes you can go through and you can actually like barely step foot inside the actual mission objective, and just by hacking, oh, we took down their vehicle here. Just by hacking, you can actually finish the mission. Like usually it'll be like hack this objective. Etc., etc., etc. All I need to do is not get killed, but also catch up to this guy, punch him in the face, and then escape. I don't know why I can't just run him over. Maybe I can in this case, but it usually makes a distinction between, like, takedown and knockdown. Don't get killed. It is fairly easy to die. Not to say that this is a super difficult game, but I have failed missions many a time here. So this is kind of a cool chase sequence here. Let's get him. If we get close enough, probably within like 5 meters or so. Oh, what the heck? How is he able to climb that before I was? But just catch up. We've got great physical stamina. Our VO2 max is off the fucking chain. Any moment now I will catch him. But yeah, it's kind of cool that you can do that that kind of stuff. There's like a flexible way to complete missions. There we go. We've actually taken him down. We may end up dying in the process here as we try to escape, but I'll try to pick up a getaway car as quickly as possible. And then guy was killed. That's okay. You more or less saw the structure of that mission and how it works. The one thing I will say though is that the hacking is kind of a thin veneer. The hacking basically boils down to like, look at cameras, and from any camera that you look at, you can get to another camera. And by going to these other cameras and kind of piggybacking across them throughout a level, sometimes you can reach an objective without actually physically needing to be in the space. I hope that I can... Let's try to do that mission again, just because I don't know if there's actually a way to cancel the mission. It might be best for us to just finish the mission instead. It's getting dark out, so I can barely see, but where's my cars? Let's get a car on demand here. Oh, unavailable during missions. Okay. I guess we'll end up stealing somebody's car. You know, if you're the kind of... Oh, no, the motorcycle's not a good choice. If you're the kind of person who concerns yourself with things like, you know, ludonarrative dissonance, you're gonna have a weird time in Watch Dogs, because the whole plot of the story, and the story's serviceable, it's not amazing, but the whole plot of the story is basically like, this dude killed my niece when, like, a hacking job went wrong. We gotta go find him, and then, like, as you're driving to, like, your nephew's birthday party, you run over 4 people, and the game's morality system is like, hey, you know, people don't really like when you run them over, so, like, don't do that, please, but for the most part, like, it's still okay. So that was me hacking a traffic light. It popped up like a flashing blue light that said neutralize, and when you do that, okay, I think I can actually take him down by killing him. I think I have a flexible option here. I've already disabled his car. But yeah, when there's a flashing blue light and you hack something, usually that has a good implications for your actual survival and success. So now we try to escape, and the game actually does do a pretty good job of what it calls stealth driving tactics. Just ignore that in the background for now. So what we can do, you know, we can do the standard GTA thing and either try to kill everybody that's follow us, or just try to, you know, escape from them and drive more quickly than they do and get away, or we can do some kind of sneaky stuff, and it's a little bit harder to find. Oh, seriously, Chicagoans, work with me here. It's a little bit harder to find stuff like that, but we can sneak into, like, parking garages and stuff like that, and there's actually a button that lets us hide in our car, so that people won't notice us if they're not like objectively or like not objectively but attentively watching us. Another thing we can do, and I'm gonna try this here even though it may very well end up getting me killed, is we can escape on the subway, and when this works, it's awesome. When it doesn't work, it's really frustrating. But basically we'll just, oh, there's a train already here. It's on the other side of the tracks. I'm sure I can get over. Just believe in the power of the run. And we'll sneak onto the train here, and then oh, no, come back. Did it stop? I think I stopped it. Yes, okay, because I have a special hacking ability, which actually lets me open and close the doors on the trains. So this is actually something that allowed me to get on the train, and now I'll probably be able to escape from them. When this stuff works, it is super, super freaking cool. When it doesn't work, it's your standard open world action game, right? Again, what you see is what you get. If you want to play it like or what you get is what you put in, or proportional to what you put in. If you want to play it like Grand Theft Auto, you can play it like Grand Theft Auto. You probably won't get a whole lot out of the experience that you didn't get out of the experience in Grand Theft Auto. In Watch Dogs, there is a little bit of I wouldn't necessarily say cooler stuff going on, but there's different stuff going on that you can find out for yourself and exploit to have some fun. So we'll try to do that on the next mission that we have. Hopefully, again, it's sight unseen because we're just playing through the story. I don't have multiple save files on the go or anything like that. But hopefully we'll be able to take some kind of flexible approaches, because if we end up just getting involved in the gunplay, you know, the gunplay is serviceable, but it's not the highlight of the game. Similarly, the driving, I haven't talked about it. Much has been made about the driving in the game. Yeah, it's a little floaty. It doesn't control as tightly as something like, you know, Grand Theft Auto does. I don't know if that's realistic. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. So I'm just going to force this train to go again as soon as it stops, just so we can actually, like, guaranteed escape here. Yeah, I don't know if that's realistic. You know, whenever you talk about driving physics, there's always people who's like, yeah, well, it's really, you know, cars actually do control kind of floaty like that in real life. Yeah, okay, sure. I don't think realistic driving is something the game should strive for. I think more tight and fun driving is something the game should strive for. But whatever, right? It is what it is. It's still fine. The hacking stuff is, again, a thin veneer, but it does make things more interesting than just, you know, repetitive missions where you walk into a building and just shoot everybody on sight, basically. And hopefully we'll be able to show that off, although there are some flaws with it. So, I'm going to stop the train at the next station, or maybe even earlier if possible. No, the next station's right here. So we escaped from the pursuers by getting on the subway train there. That was pretty sweet. Now, there is still one chasing me, but for the most part, we've escaped here. Now, it did say that our skill tree has been upgraded, so we've gotten a skill point basically acquired. So by using our skill points, we can actually improve our hacking, combat, crafting, and driving abilities. There is a crafting system in the game. It's a little bit of a sore spot for me because it means I'm always looking around for these ingredients. It's not like you're constantly like, oh, I need coal, let's go to this part of Chicago. It's more like you'll be walking around and then there'll be like a microchip on a table or something like that, and you're like, okay, I'll take that. I kind of wish it wasn't there, but they also do give you the option of just like basically drive to in-city stores, and when you get there, you can just buy all the parts that you need there. So that's worked out fairly well for me. You can upgrade combat and driving as well, but hacking and well, hacking primarily is the biggest one. So hacking is the most interesting one here because it gives us more options for puzzle solving, basically, and more, you know, sandbox type stuff to play around with. So I'm going to pick up the ability to raise and lower bridges, which will hopefully give me the opportunity for some sweet escapes. I'm going to pick up the ability to raise blockers, which will hopefully give me the ability for stuff like that. And I'll pick up road spikes as well. Anything that helps me get away from gangs and get away from the police is pretty important. We'll pick up transformers, which will allow us to create blackouts. And let's get a profile optimizer as well, which will basically allow us to much more easily pick up high-value targets. I guess I can't jump on top of the L train here. I know it's not a subway, technically, it's light rail. You know, get over it, basically, is what I'm going to try to say. By the way, if you get hit by that, it will kill you, as you might expect. So, I'm going to try to just steal a car. You can play this game much more morally if you want to. The game has a very kind of, like, binary moral compass going on. I thought I heard something, and I do hear something in the background. It's kind of freaking me out, but, yeah, there's a moral system in the game. If you run over civilians, it's kind of like, don't do that. But I haven't noticed anything yet to the extent that they talked about in kind of like the pre-release press for the game, where it was like, you know, as your reputation gets lower, citizens will be more likely to call the police on you when they actually see you, but if your reputation gets higher, they'll be more likely to turn the other way because you're like a vigilante for, you know, city justice and stuff like that. And I've run over a lot of civilians. It's predominantly by accident, I'll admit, but you'd have to be like a genuine fucking asshole to really become, at least by Act 2 of the game, you'd have to be a real shithead to get to the point where you actually have people that are actively calling the police on you just for walking around on the street. Oh my god, the campaign mission is so far away. Not a job for Tyrone. Okay, let me drive over there. Nothing in the game is more than a few kilometers away. You know what, we can actually get another car here. We can get whatever cars we've unlocked in the game on demand, basically. So let's get a motorcycle. Everyone likes to see you drive motorcycles in games like this. I like to drive motorcycles in games like this because it's that. Oh, I thought my car was 2 kilometers away, and I was like, Jesus, I'm not running that. Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. I mean, this is a good time to point out, you know, how's the city of Chicago modeled? I don't live in Chicago, but the city feels good, you know? It's got a little bit of a flavor of its own. It feels a lot like Grand Theft Auto 4 in terms of the flavor of the city. I know it's kind of not, you know, beloved anymore. Grand Theft Auto 4 is the one that it's kind of, you know, fashionable for good reasons and for reasons that I consider a little bit more superficial to hate on right now out of the whole Grand Theft Auto series. But, you know, it's got like a kind of Midwest, but also Northeast feel to it. It feels like a kind of New York, basically. But I imagine if you live in Chicago, then maybe you have a different relationship to the game. It doesn't feel like Grand Theft Auto 5, for example, which obviously took place in sunny Los Angeles. Now, we are going to move along here. I know the other thing as we drive here, I appreciate the game gives us a lot of driving moments because it gives me a chance to actually talk about some of the controversy surrounding this game. A lot of the controversy surrounding Watch Dogs is about its graphics. Yes, on the PS4, it runs 900p, 30 frames per second. Does that make it a baby's toy? Maybe if you're, you know, a troll on the internet or something like that. It looks fine. I imagine the PC version looks better, but it's kind of weird to me that this game has become... Oh, I should have gotten in the other lane. It's weird to me that Watch Dogs has become the kind of game that people are, you know, really planting their graphical flags in and saying, like, this is the game that has to blow me away. Because the spectacle of Watch Dogs, or like what's great about it with respect to like the environments, is not that the environments look fantastic, it's that they're huge. You can drive from point A to point B, go inside of buildings that you get to there. A lot of them are like fully featured levels. There's a lot of interactivity. You know, if you want to see a good-looking game, yes, I mean, the game has a responsibility to look, you know, good to a certain extent, but also, there's a lot of stuff on the go here is what I'm trying to get at, so I almost feel like cut them some slack. Like, for me, this looks worse than Need for Speed Rivals on PS4. A lot of people are going to say that's unacceptable. I thought Need for Speed Rivals looked really good, but also keep in mind with a game like Need for Speed Rivals, what do they need to model? In great detail, they really only need to model the car and, like, the cars immediately around you. Everything else doesn't need to be that detailed. We saw that in Forza 5 with the crowd being just like paper thin as well. Watch Dogs has a lot of meaningful stuff to actually, you know, model within the game. So the texture work isn't superb. It does look maybe a little bit more on PS4 like a really good Xbox 360 or PS3 game. That being said, it looks fine, and it is an upgrade over the previous systems. But yeah, sure, that's my stake on it. If you're looking for something that's really going to blow you away visually, this is probably not going to be it. I'll let them talk, though.
But lazy. All right, Start with his home. Tap his cell phone. Just record everything he says.
Alright, so to set the stage for this mission, basically there is a gang leader called Iraq, and he has a cousin called Tyrone. We need to keep our profiler open here. He has a cousin called Tyrone. Tyrone is not very good at his job, so we're thinking that he's going to be a weakness. So we're going to try to get some blackmail information on him that we can use to help us get to Iraq, basically. Alright, so here's one of the things that is a little bit of a sore spot for me in the game, although probably not unexpected. Some of Watch Dogs' hacking comes down to this. These are, you know, Deus Ex Human Revolution style hacking puzzles that basically you've seen before. What we have to do is we have to unlock all these locks, and in order to unlock all these locks, we have to put in electricity, basically, in a certain path. So you can see for this switch, we need to hit it from the top and the bottom, and then that will allow us to actually do that. So there we got the bottom. Sorry, we got the top. Apparently, I cannot speak. Oh, that's not the way we want to do it. Probably like this, then. No, like this. Okay, that's fine. And then like this, and then we'll rotate this one upwards. So, I mean, the puzzles, if you take them by themselves, they're fine. The thing that sucks about them is that it's just not novel at all. This is the kind of puzzling that, you know, you've seen plenty of times before. Let me just do... not that. That again. No, this is... No, this might be fine, actually. And it's just kind of like, you know, we're going to include hacking in our game, and then you look at it and you're like, well, I mean, sure, but this is really just the same kind of switch puzzle that I've seen 1,000 times before. Not that there's anything necessarily wrong with that. It's just... I mean, part of the problem that I have with the reception around Watch Dogs so far in pre-release is that, you know, gamers do it to themselves, man. Marketing materials for the game, yes, are, you know, trying to show it in the best light possible. Let's install the tracker on his phone if he'll stand still for a second. They try to show the game in the best light possible, obviously, but then people hype it up and they're like, man, I'm so hyped for Watch Dogs, it's going to change the way people play video games. And then it doesn't, and they're disappointed, and I understand that, but at the same time, like, I don't know. And I want to make it clear, I'm not giving Watch Dogs a pass just because there's backlash against it. The first few hours I played of the game, I did not really like at all. But as I got further and further into it, and I started to give it a little bit more and more of my time, I started to appreciate it, even though I'm not a big fan of open world games. But I do think there's a lot of negativity surrounding this. But man, you do it to yourself with this negativity by hyping the shit up based on like E3 trailers and stuff 18 months in advance of the game. So I planted the tracker on his phone. I probably should have let the voice work play here. How's the story? It's, you know, middle-aged, well, you know, young, middle-aged man has, you know, his family targeted by criminals. Losing target already? That seems surprising. Has his family targeted by criminals, and then he tries to get vigilante justice on them. You know, it's the kind of thing you've seen since Death Wish with Charles Bronson. That being said, it's alright. The writing is not cringeworthy for the most part. It's just not necessarily the most, you know, novel story in video game history. As for mission design, you know... Oh, they're gonna maybe notice me. You do get a lot of kind of like by the numbers stuff. There is a lot of tail this dude, and you know, if you're 20 meters back, then that's fine, but if you're 5 meters back, like, whoa, watch out, buddy, you're in trouble. And that kind of stuff is not the strong suit of the game. The strong suit of the game is definitely when you have to infiltrate compounds and stuff like that. There's also a really nasty checkpoint system in the game, which I would... probably, you know, let's not worry about the graphics and stuff like that. That is the biggest negative in the game, and I'll explain why. In any stealth game, and Watch Dogs is no exception, even though it's not, you know, a black and white stealth game, we can hide in our car, by the way, like this, which makes us a little bit less suspicious, even though we're just parked in the middle of the road. I know I'm talking over this guy, but disregard. Start again and move onwards here. In any stealth game... Oh, what? I had no idea that was actually going to happen, but this is a pretty good way to illustrate this. There's an element of trial and error. You know, as Sam Fisher, as Solid Snake, you do something... Oh, that didn't work. That guy pulled a gun on me. Reload checkpoint. In Watch Dogs, there's no quick saving, not even on PC. That's according to TB. But definitely on PS4, there's no quick saving. So... when there's 5 minutes between checkpoints and you get discovered, somebody pulls a gun on you, but you don't want to, you know, reload your last checkpoint, which could be 5 minutes ago. Instead, you're just like, well, okay, I'll pull out my gun and shoot everybody. Because that's a really easy way to solve your problems in this game. But it hampers the game from a design standpoint because it doesn't really give you that incentive, or it doesn't give you the ability to play around creatively as much as I would like. Because as soon as something goes wrong, somebody pulls a gun, you have to pull a gun or replay like the last 5 minutes. So I think it's important in stealth games like this that they have a little bit more of a liberal kind of quick save and or auto save or checkpoint system, because then if something goes wrong, it's not the end of the world, right? It actually gives you, you know, the ability to experiment because the consequences are not so grave. Whereas in this, sometimes I'm like, I really want to solve this mission. I wonder if I have to go around, like this way. Probably, if I had to guess. It's like, I really want to solve this mission in like a cool way, but every time I make a mistake, somebody just pulls a gun on me. Maybe I should just pull a gun on them instead of like trying to be super sneaky about it. I hope that comes across there. Basically, the game makes it a little bit too... It makes the failure consequences too great, so that stealth is not as viable as it otherwise would be. Once you actually figure out the patterns, it works fine, right? But before you figure out the patterns of enemies and their movement and stuff like that, and, you know, how to interact with them properly, it sucks. Because as soon as you make one mistake and they pull a gun, you're like, well, okay, I'll pull a gun on them as well. And, I mean, we're still at the point where, like, these tailing missions are kind of silly. But you have to kind of take my word at face value, I guess, when I say that these are not really super strong, or these are not indicative of, like, super strong moments in the game. So we have to tail this guy. We got our blackmail already. Guess we'll hide in the car here. Driving the way absolutely nobody drives in the world. Oh, skip the song. Alright, so did we complete the mission? Oh, he's on foot again, so we'll tail him. Alright. We can do that. This is probably going to get a little stealthier now because we're going to be inside of a restricted area, as you can see on the map there. So there is a cover system, as you can see. We can interact with people using the profiler if we want to. Sometimes this will let us do things like explode enemy grenades. Like if enemies have explosives, we can trigger them, and then that'll cause them to blow up. Or sometimes they'll throw them away. I've had some. Oh, this might be bad. I've had some unintended negative consequences. Like I have to capture somebody alive, and then I like use the explode function on their friend, and then they throw the grenade at the person I was going to keep alive. So that's kind of funny that there's emergent stuff like that. But it's pretty superficial as well. You know, when it comes to people, you can either distract them by, like, texting them, like, hey, you know, your wife's a bitch. And then they go, like, no, they're not. You're a mean dude. Or, let's take a lure here for a second, and we'll try to, like, oh, I botched it. This might be bad. Put this over here, and we'll attract people to it as quickly as possible. Ooh, that had an unintended negative consequence, I think. Let's sneak past here. Oh, losing target. He's right there. So you can do that. You can, like, text people by distracting them, or distract them by texting them. Or you can, like, disrupt their communications, which is basically, like, break their earpiece so they can't communicate with anybody. Or you can... I was detected. Where the hell did that happen? Or you can explode their grenades. So it's not the like you don't have as much freedom, I think, as maybe it was led to you may have been led to believe by the promotional materials for the game. So I failed that mission. It would probably be a lot easier for me to not fail that mission if I just shut my damn mouth for once. But you know, you can kind of see the checkpoint system at work here. This is a pretty, you know, easy example. Like this is not what is your fence made of that me bumping into it just broke it in half. But anyway. Oh, I'm gonna get discovered again. Yep. My mistake. But, yeah, the checkpoint system is not fantastic. That's a relatively bad example because that checkpoint wasn't even that far away, but I would still love the ability to quick save after basically every encounter. And, you know, you do get people that are like, oh, if you quick save after every encounter, then, you know, sequences in the game aren't meaningful. I disagree. You know... Not to compare this necessarily to Splinter Cell Blacklist, which is a game that I've obviously gone on record as saying I love and think is very, very good. But in Splinter Cell Blacklist, you could go in guns blazing, and I think that was a little bit of a design flaw. But you could also play stealthily and be just fine because the game didn't punish you unduly. I'm just going to throw a lure over there, and maybe I'll actually knock this guy out just to stop us from having problems later on. Alright, so we can just walk by and, like, non-lethally take him out. And then we'll just stay low, I guess, and maybe we'll get lucky. We got to stay close to record blackmail. All right, that's as good of a conceit as any, I guess. We can also use this camera maybe to stay a little closer to him as well. And the camera system in the game, you know, most of your hacking is just camera riding. You just go from camera to camera, you know, finding new areas that you can hack in the game, basically. Does he actually go inside now, or are we relatively safe here? I think we might be relatively safe here, actually. The only thing is, I don't know how I'm going to get past these guys. I also don't know how I got discovered earlier. We could use more lures, though. Like, if I put a lure right there, and then, attract... Oh, I was detected again, god damn it. This mission's actually proving to be surprisingly difficult. If I end up failing this mission a couple more times, I may actually just end the episode here, but there's still a lot of stuff I haven't talked about. There is online stuff in the game. I haven't seen too much of it because we're playing pre-release here, even though, you know, everyone and their dog seems to own Watch Dogs already for various reasons that, you know, don't need to be talked about, I suppose. But the online stuff is really interesting. It's got a very Assassin's Creed 4 vibe to it. I didn't play any of the earlier Assassin's Creed multiplayers, so I'm probably coming from kind of a narrow point of reference there. But yeah, it's like somebody infiltrates their way into your world, and then you have to kind of root out who is who's the hacker that's infiltrated your world, and who are real citizens. So you use your profiler. I got lucky there. You use your profiler, and you figure out, you know, who's to be trusted, who's not. And it's kind of neat because, you know, as time goes on, the radius that you have to explore gets a little bit more narrow, and then you're like, okay, is it this old lady, or is it like this dude on the bench reading the newspaper? And then, you know, eventually you can end up with chase sequences as you try to track them down. That stuff's kind of cool. It's got a little bit of a Dark Souls-y vibe to it. I haven't experienced very much of it at all. I think the one encounter that I did have in the game may have actually been a scripted encounter that Ubisoft put in there just so you can kind of experience it. Okay, that was a little bit maybe being overly aggressive on my part, but yes, so that stuff's kind of neat, but I haven't experienced too much of it, so I can't really talk about it. All in all, though, my thoughts on Watch Dogs, I wanted to be very deliberate in the way I talked about this game. I don't think this game is going to be my game of the year. I don't think this game is going to change the way that people think about gaming in the future. Above all else, this is yet another open-world crime game. This one with a little bit more of a focus on hacking, whereas Saints Row is a focus on, you know, absurdity, and Sleeping Dogs had a focus on martial arts, hand-to-hand combat, and Grand Theft Auto has a focus on, I don't know, being the first or having the most cinematic story, I guess. And this is all fine. Watch Dogs is in the caliber of games like that. It's not a worse game, and it frustrates, or it's not... It might be slightly worse, or it might be slightly better. It depends on your preferences, but... it frustrates me that all the dialogue in pre-release for this game is like, oh, the smoke effects off the cars don't look good, or like, oh, you know, it runs in 30 FPS. Yes, that kind of stuff can be important, but the most important thing, and now that it's actually out, hopefully the dialogue can shift to talking about this, is the gameplay. And the gameplay, it's fine. It's not going to change the world. And it's not even that different than a lot of its genre counterparts. That being said, does it need to be? Maybe, maybe not. You know, everyone's to blame. People who hyped the game are to blame. People who did the marketing materials are to blame. You know, people are like, why would the publisher lie to us? Well, because you pre-order the game in droves and then make it, you know, the highest selling game of the year and stuff like that. But yeah, I agree. It's not really cool for the publisher to be like, this is what the game's going to look like. Sorry, just kidding. I think that I probably, like, should not be here. But we'll see. We can't just use, like, a sleeping gas canister here, by the way. Where's he going to go? Oh, snap. Maybe that's how I get discovered every single time. Please don't turn. I don't want to see your heart breaking. Okay, I apologize for glossing over a lot of the story as well, but I'm kind of doing that deliberately so I don't accidentally end up spoiling something major. Okay, he's going back to his house, I think, so we might be okay to just be here. Oh, shit. That was kind of close. I often wonder that, like, if I saw somebody doing this in real life, would I even think twice about it? Or would I just be like, wow, there's just some crazy dude crouching behind stuff. Go, 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 go. Where's this other dude? He's over there. Ooh. Ooh, okay, I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna lure him, like, all the way over here. And then attract him. He's gonna turn around. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, they almost discovered me. That's okay. This gave us a chance to get around here. What about this dude? What's this dude up to? I'm probably going to lose my target again in a second, so please, I'm abusing lures here. It's funny, I barely use them at all in the actual,
Hey, I heard something.
in the actual game. So I did this just to get him close so I could kill him, and then we'll go over here. Oh, we see him again. Okay, it's very close. This mission's actually proving to be surprisingly tense. Just because I'm failing, it's as much my fault as the game's fault in this mission. Don't turn this way. Don't turn this way. Okay, I'm just gonna relax for a second. You can listen to the dialogue.
Always. Why? No, this gonna cost you, but it's worth it. Trust me. Yeah, we'll see about that.
Okay. We've got to be getting close to the end of this. By the way, if we failed the mission at this point, we would have to go back to the very beginning, which admittedly is about 2 blocks that way, or less, but is still super damn annoying when it happens, because we've already done, you know, what? Like 4 minutes of gameplay here, trying to get from point A to point B. I think we're actually safe if we just stay here. But I'm a little worried about crossing the road. Maybe we can make it. Totally we can make it. Okay, as long as that other guy behind us doesn't turn around right now. Use cameras to follow bedbug. Okay, so this game is actually, or this mission's actually giving us a pretty good spectrum of what goes on in Watch Dogs. Now all we need is a chase sequence at the end that ends in a gunfight, and it'll be the real Watch Dogs experience. So this is camera riding. This is basically what we do to complete missions stealthily.
500 for what I know.
What the fuck you know that's worth that much cash?
Because you ain't got much time unless you pay up now, fam.
Oh, you gonna threaten me? You don't fuck with me, man. You think Iraq won't hear about this, man? What's wrong with you?
Oh, dude. Iraq? Serious? Iraq is your fucking problem.
Man, tell me what you know. This better be good.
Look, it's simple. They gonna call you down to the bricks, and then they gonna kill you.
That's bullshit, man.
Whoa, hey, what are you doing, man?
Alright, so now we have to help Rabbit escape. How are we gonna do that? Well, luckily the game pops up like these hacking things that we can do that just, you know, basically allowed us to explode that thing and then distract them. And my guess is that that will probably do it. Yeah, it looks like he's probably... Oh, he's right over there. Call Rabbit. Okay. Again, all of this is just accomplished by Square. You don't really have that much freedom, but there's still some cool stuff you can do.
The guy who just saved your ass. And I can do a lot more if you cooperate. What are the bricks?
Look, just get me out of here, man, and I'll tell you.
All right, pay attention.
So I guess we've got to tell him what to do now, which is kind of interesting, actually. This is like, you know, that scene where Morpheus directs Neo in The Matrix 1. So we actually have some options here. One of them here is disable reinforcement. So now he won't actually be able to call his buddies if he finds somebody, which is important. This takes up our battery level, which is at the bottom. It's not that important to talk about battery, though. It is like your energy meter, but it doesn't really come in handy that often. So we'll move him over here. I've never done this before, so I apologize if I'm as bad at this part as I am at the rest of the game. Really hope this guy doesn't turn this corner. Oh, yeah, that could have been dangerous. I wonder if I can sneak Rabbit, like, over here. And then I can take this other camera and maybe move him around a little bit. So again, this stuff is kind of novel, actually. Maybe we want to take this camera instead and maybe move him over here. Disable those reinforcement calls. Where is he right now? Now I'm all lost in camera town. Okay, this is probably where we want to be. Let's move him over here.
Go.
And then when he moves, we'll move him over here. Okay. There's another camera over there. I can reach it. Okay. So he's over here somewhere. I just gotta make sure it's safe, because this is the kind of thing I imagine I'll have to try like 40 times to get right. I wonder if I could just move him all the way over here. Oh god, run, Rabbit. He did it! Rabbit, my hero! Okay. Now you're... Where are you? Somewhere over here. All you gotta do is get maybe out or to that door. Maybe I want to use this camera now, actually. Okay, where are you? You're over there. I can't see you on this other camera is the problem that I've got going on here. We can distract this guard. Usually this means texting him something about his wife. I've got a lead on... Or it usually leads them texting something that related to, like, a weakness that they have. Maybe this guy needs a heart transplant or something. I don't know. Time's a wasted motherfucker. That doesn't sound like heart transplant logic to me. Pink gold. Maybe he's an organ trader. That seems way more likely. Yeah, okay. Let's... You get over here so I can actually see you. And then you got this guy, so you should definitely get behind this thing, but that's going to require us moving to this other camera. And then I still can't really see it. I'm kind of hampered by this camera angle here. Might still be okay, though. Is there another camera over here? There is. I think I can sneak him, like, all the way over here. But I gotta wait till that guy, like, turns around. So... There we go. A lot is made about the fact that you can, like... Oh, no. Where the heck did he go? He made it, okay. A lot is going to be made about the profiler in this game and how you can actually, like, see into people's lives and blah, blah, blah. And there's something to be said for that, admittedly. But it boils down really quickly to just being like, here's the biggest piece of shit, like, or biggest problem with this guy. And then, you know, exploiting that for your own personal gain. Now we just stay still, and then I'm going to move you over here. I'm not really sure what camera I'm supposed to move you to after that, though. We'll try, though. So I'll move you behind here. And... Ah, this is going to be perfect now. Alright, so very quickly move this way. I can probably distract this guy or do something. Oh, no, he moves. Oh, that was really scary, actually. I thought he was going to walk all the way back here. I mean, obviously it's designed so that it's actually beatable. Oh, shit, man. That was really close. Okay. Move, please. Move, please. Yeah, that's really bad for me. I'm gonna hack his phone, I guess. I botched that miserably. Maybe it wasn't designed so that you actually had to succeed. Maybe that's a mission that, you know, you could fail as well. Just letting them talk.
Shit. Rack's about to kill Commander Bedbutt. I need to show up in this place and deal with these guys.
Alright, so we'll probably end up getting involved in some combat. If we continue with this, so I'm actually just gonna leave, and I think we'll be able to escape, because I was never really inside the compound, really. Nobody knew I was there. That's actually a fairly representative mission of what happens in Watch Dogs. I think I'm probably gonna end the episode here as soon as they stop talking and we actually get a save. All in all, it's been a bit of a frustrating game to cover, because there's so much negativity surrounding this game, and it's entirely due to the pre-release hype. It could have all been prevented, man. Be honest in the marketing materials, but also don't hype up games a year and a half in advance, and shit like this won't happen, because this is actually a good game, and I worry that that's going to be overshadowed by the fact that, oh, it's not, you know, a life changer. That's true, but it's a good open world game, and as someone who doesn't... By the way, the frame rate gets bad there, yes, but it gets bad. Oh, that was probably a dumb idea, huh? It gets bad whenever a mission ends. It's not something that happens consistently. And yeah, the water looks a little, you know, like cerebral fluid here. But in any case, it's a good open world game. I don't normally like open world games. I think this is a solid 8 out of 10 for me, personally. And I have gone on record many times as saying I have a bias against open world games to begin with, just because I prefer games that have a little bit more depth as opposed to breadth. And this is a game that is a little bit more focused on breadth than depth, I'll admit. There's a lot of stuff to do. Not necessarily all of it is as focused as it could be if we had like a, you know, a much more structured mission system. But it's a good game, and I think it deserves to be, you know, judged on its own merits as opposed to the expectations for it. And I hope that that's how things actually end up going. But in any case, I hope you like this Let's Look At of Watch Dogs. I'm not going to be doing a series of it, but I'm sure you'll be able to see, you know, trillions of people playing it online. As always, thanks for watching. If you want to pick it up, there is a link to pick it up on Steam in the video description below. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, click the like button. And of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. I should point out, again, this is the PS4 version. Notice no performance hiccups outside of mission ending screens. Occasionally, those get a little framey. Haven't played the PC version, can't speak for that. But of course, I'd encourage you to go watch Total Biscuit's presumably very thorough WTF is of this game that should be up at exactly the same time if you want a more PC-focused standpoint. As always, thanks for watching.